Okay, to begin cutting the DNA origami pieces, what you should first notice is that you have one circular structure here on pink paper, and you'll notice that it says 5' end here. You have a second circular structure that is on yellow paper and says 3' end here. And you have a last piece of paper that has lots and lots of squares that you will be cutting out. So we will start with the pink paper. And the first thing you're going to do is cut around the edge of this, I wouldn't say circle, but multi-sided structure here, okay? So cut all the way around the circle. Pause. So I'll just start from one end and I will cut again. I will reiterate, the more accurately you make your cuts, the easier your structure will be put together. And this one requires some finger dexterity, so make your life easier and cut accurately. All right, so pause the video here and continue to cut all the way around both circles. Okay, you should have two circular objects that look like this now. And we're going to focus on the pink one again first. So I'll move this one over to the side. What I want you to find is a dotted red line that goes from the outside to number 1. So we're going to make a cut there. Cut along this red line here, like so. And then for each of these numbered shaded areas, we're going to cut along the dotted line and leave the solid line uncut, okay? Cut along the dotted line, leave the solid line uncut. So here we go. I'll do number 1. I'm going to cut along the dotted here, along the dotted here, along the dotted here, along the dotted here. I will stop right when I get to the blue, okay? So you'll notice that the blue is uncut, okay? I'm also going to need to cut this part here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do want you to notice that there is a green rectangle here. We will be using that. And I want you to notice that there's an A here. And you will see that on each one. So here's number 2. Here's the green rectangle. Here's the A. Here's the solid line I'm not going to cut, but I am going to cut along the dotted lines everywhere else. Here's number 3. Cut along the dotted lines. Notice the rectangle, notice the A. So you're going to go ahead and cut on the dotted line around all 10 of those shaded areas. Here's number 2, I'll cut there. I'll cut there. Stop when I get to the solid line, and I'll cut here. And so what you'll end up with is a series of these little flaps. Okay, so pause the video here and cut all the way around till you get to number 10. I've got one more to do. Here's number 10. This centerpiece should finally come off. centerpiece comes off. You will not need that. Put it off to the side. And then finish up number 10 by cutting along the dotted line. So you should have something that looks like this. It should be open and it should have a bunch of these little flaps. The next thing you're going to want to do is mountain fold along this blue line. Mountain fold means you fold like a mountain. You fold up like that, tucking the flap under. Okay, here's number 2. I fold it so the flap gets tucked under, right along that blue line. Mountain fold all the way to number 10. Mountain folding number 9. There you go, and number 10. Oh, I didn't cut enough here. I'm going to cut a little more right up here, all the way up to that line, so I can get a nice crisp mountain fold along the blue line. Okay, so now you should have something that looks like this with these folds like so. Okay, you're going to put this off to the side and you're going to do the same thing with the yellow. So again, we're going to start with the dotted line that goes from the outer edge to flap number 10. So cut along that dotted line like so. Then follow the dotted line over to number 1. Okay, now you have to be careful here. Once again, we're going to cut along the dotted line, cut along the dotted line, cut along the dotted line. But what I want you to notice here is that the small dots become longer dots. So this blue here, you cannot cut that. When I did this the first time, I made the mistake of cutting along that line. Do not cut along this line here where it says B. Okay, so you're going to cut past the triangle, a little bit more beyond the triangle, and stop right where the first long line is, right there. Okay, see where I cut it to? That's how far you want to cut it. And then I'm going to cut along this dotted line here. Notice there are green triangles on this. That's important to note. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to cut only till I get to the long lines right there. Okay, do not cut that off. So there's flap 1, and then we're going to do the same thing to flap 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. Okay, so pause the video and do that to the rest of the shaded flaps. Last one, middle piece comes out, don't need that, put it off to the side. Finishing up my final cut here, and now I've got this. Okay, so these right here are valley folds. Okay, so you're going to fold it so that you're creating a valley, and you're going to do that to each one of your flaps. So valley fold, valley fold, valley fold, and you just keep going till they're all folded upwards. And there you go. Now you should have something that looks like that, and something that looks like this. All right, you're going to put these off to the side, and you're going to grab your blue paper. And with this blue paper, you are going to cut along the dotted line all the way around each and every one of these squares. okay? Cut along the dotted line, not the solid line, not the solid line, the dotted line. You want to cut along the dotted lines. So you'll start in one corner and cut out each square. I want you to notice as you're cutting these that each square, or I should say rectangle, has a green rectangle in the corner and a green triangle in the other upper corner. Okay, notice the green rectangle, notice the triangle. Okay, pause the video, cut all of these out. Okay, so now that they are all cut, you should have plenty of these rectangles. These are the base pairs. We call them the base pairs that we are going to assemble ever so carefully to these two structures. So at this point, you're going to need some glue. So make sure you have a glue stick before you proceed to the next part. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take any one of these, any one you want. It could say TA, it could say CG, it could say AT, it doesn't matter. You're going to take any one and you're going to match up the rectangles, the green rectangles. Okay, so the shaded area means you're going to glue something over it. So we're going to be gluing something over this. We're going to be gluing this over the number 1 shaded area. So what you want to do is make sure that the green rectangle goes over the green rectangle on the pink sheet. And you want to also make sure, just as a double check, that the A lines up with the A. Okay, so it should look like this. Right, the corners are perfectly matched up here. These corners are perfectly matched. And you're going to use your glue stick to glue this down. Okay, so I'm just going to glue the corner, the correct upper corner of this blue sheet. I'm going to once again line up the A with the A, the green rectangle with the green rectangle, and I'm going to glue it down like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go to number 2. So you're going to have to kind of move this out of the way gently. I'm going to go to number 2. I'm going to grab another one. Make sure that my rectangles are lined up and the A lines up with the A. And I'm going to glue this one down. Okay, so a little glue on there. Make sure I have it lined up really nicely. And glue. Like so. Then you're going to go to flap 3, grab another one, any one you want, glue the rectangle corner. I find it easier to glue this piece than to glue the flap, and get it lined up perfectly and glue it down. And you're going to do this all the way around until you get to number 10. So pause the video here and glue till you get to number 10. Squeeze, squeeze, and you should now have something that looks like this. It's starting to open up some, okay? So make sure that yours looks very similar to this, and we're gonna go to the next step. Okay, the next step is to, and maybe you could have done this beforehand, but it doesn't matter. You could do it now or before you glued them on, but you're gonna need to cut right along where this dotted line is right here for each of the ones that you connected. So you're going to cut right along there, then go to your next one and cut right. It's kind of like just cutting a little slit in each of the base pairs. Okay, so right where it says B, you're going to make a little cut along the dotted line. So do that for all 10 of your base pairs. Okay, so you're going to find your yellow structure. You're going to find the end that has number 1, and you're going to see that there's a little slit here. So that little slit fits into the slit you made on your base pairs. You're going to slide it in just enough so that your triangles match. So they go one right over the other. We're going to glue this down like so. So you'll see that the B's line up with each other, the triangles line up with each other, and the slits fit inside each other, okay? So you're gonna go ahead and put a little glue down and squeeze, squeeze. There you go, okay? Then we'll go to number 2. You're gonna find your slit for number 2. You're going to line up a little tricky here. So line up the B's, get the blue to slide in, match up the triangles, dab a little glue, and glue that down. Okay, just like that. One more time, find number 3, match it with your third base pair. Here is the slit. It should go inside the slit here. You're going to have papers that are going to be in the way. You're just going to have to gently move them out of the way. Come up this way. Match the B's, slide into the slit, and match up the triangles, okay? Once you have them matched up, it's easier to just kind of try to hold them in place and put a little glue down and glue it on. Make sure the triangles line up really well. Like so. Keep going till you get to number 10. Number 10, yay. You made it. You did it. Okay. Okay, your last fold is going to be folding each of your base pairs along this blue solid line. So these are all going to be mountain folds. Like you see, I've started here, mountain folds. So you will just go and make each of these mountain folds. Here's another one. I will fold it over right along the blue line on both sides. And this is going to give your structure a little more strength and integrity. Okay? Again, fold it along the blue line all the way to the end. Once you have made all of your folds, here's what your final structure should look like. It should be what we call a helix, where it's twisting on itself, and you've got the rungs of the ladder there in the middle. Beautiful DNA molecule.